Start today the Gemara on the bottom of Daf Gimel Amud Beis, V'Amar Rabbi Shua ben Levi, the last few words. So here we're going to have a bunch of statements from Rabbi Shua ben Levi regarding the halachas of Purim. Sagt the Gemara, V'Amar Rabbi Shua ben Levi, Lud, V'Oinoi, V'Geya Charashim. These are cities in Eretz Yisrael, and Rashi says these are cities in the territory of Shevet Binyamin. So, Mukafes Chayma Mimais Yeshua ben Nun Havu. They were surrounded with a wall from the time of Yeshua ben Nun. And the reason why Rabbi Shua ben Levi is saying this is because you look at these cities today, they don't have a wall. So you might think that they're just a regular open city. So therefore he's saying, no, they did have a wall from the time of Yeshua ben Nun. And even though now you don't see the walls, it doesn't matter. It was there from the times of Yeshua ben Nun. Actually, Rashi says a drop differently, not that they don't have walls around them, but the walls that you see around these cities look to be fairly new. So it doesn't look like they're so ancient from the time of Yeshua ben Nun. So therefore he's coming to tell you that no, these are cities that had a wall from the time of Yeshua ben Nun. So the Gemara is going to ask on this. Hani Yeshua beninu. Is Yeshua the one that built these walls? V'ha el fa'el beninu. We find in a pasuk in Divrei Yamim that an individual by the name El Fa'el built these walls. The b'nei al-fal, Ever, Umisham, Shmar. The names are Shamed. You read it. Hu bana es Oinoi ve'es Lud ubnei Seha. He built the city of Oinoi and Lud and the other cities around it. So if he built these cities, so he built a wall around them too. So it wasn't there from the times of Yeshua ben Nun. So the Gemara says, okay, you have a good question, but if your question is right, I have a better question for you. According to your questioning, I can tell you that Ha'asa baninu. Asa is the one that built these cities. And it brings here another pasuk that it says in Divrei Yamim in another place. Vayiven Asa es Areya B'tzeiris Asher Yehuda. So Rashi says that the way it's quoted over here in our Gemara, there's no such a pasuk in Divrei Yamim, but there's a similar pasuk. Vayiven Ari Mitzura B'Yehuda. So it says that Asa is the one that built the cities. Now, what does this mean? When it says that Asa built the cities, is it referring to these same cities of Lud, Oinai, Ge'ah Charashim that are by the Shevet Binyamin? So Rashi says in the pasuk itself, it doesn't say clearly that Asa built those cities of Shevet Binyamin. But it does say that he was Moshel v'Shailet over everybody, and even over Binyamin. And we find there, Rashi brings other psukim that it says in Divrei Yamim, that it says clearly that Asa is the one that built the walls and built the cities. So therefore we see that Asa is the one that built the cities, even in Shevet Binyamin. So who built them? El Fa'el built them? Did Asa build them? Or perhaps Yeshua ben Nun already built these cities with the walls around them, like Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi said. So the Gemara explains as follows: Amar Rabbi Lazar, Hani Mukafes Chami Mais Yeshua ben Nun Havo. These cities were cities from before, and they had walls around them from the time of Yeshua ben Nun. And then Charuf b'mei Pelegesh begiva. They were destroyed when the story of Pelegesh begiva happened, which was the Yidden fought them with Shevet Binyamin because of a despicable act that Shevet Binyamin did. So because of this, they destroyed their cities, and therefore they destroyed this wall as well. And then later on, later generations, V'as al-Fal baninu. Al-Fal built it up again. And Hadar in full, the wall again began falling in. Asa shapitzinu. And Asa came and fixed it again. He built it up again. He strengthened it again. So we see that this is a wall that could be, it was there from the time of Yeshua ben Nun. Elamai, what it says in Divrei Yamim, was when they built it back again. Dekanami, I'll prove to you also this point. What does it say over there regarding Asa when he came to build these cities? So the pasuk there says, "Vayayimelu Yehuda nivne es ha'arem ha'ela." Let's build up these cities. He doesn't say let's build up a city here. He says let's build up these cities. Meklal ha'arem ha'mekara. So I see that there were already cities there from before. Shema mina. This proves the point that we said. So this is again the rule, the point that we said before in the Gemara. The walls from times of Yeshua ben Nun, he doesn't have to have actually a wall today. As long as it had a wall then, you have to read the Megillah on Chamishasa Badar. Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, another Allah Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi said, Noshim chayavais b'mikra Megillah. Women are obligated to read the Megillah. Why? She'afei noya b'isei nes. Because the women were included in the Nes as well. So there's two pirushim, what it means, afei noya b'isei nes. Rashi and Tosfos here brings that the Gzeira of Haman was on everybody. men, women, children, so therefore they're included in the fact that they were saved by this miracle. But there's a Rashbam in Psachim that he says, Afenoye Beis Nes actually means that the Nes happened through a woman. Both by Chanukah, there was Yehudis that brought about the miracle, and over here, of course, through Esther that brought about the miracle. So they're the cause of the miracle. So for sure, they should have to be chayiv in all the halachas of Purim. Tosfos says it's not mashma and the lashon. Af hein hoye Beis Nes is not mashma that they caused the miracle. It's mashma that they were part of the miracle. But there's a big machlokes here about this halacha that women are chayiv to hear the Megillah. In the Pashut Pshat of our Gemara, it says Nashim chayavais b'mikra Megillah. They're obligated to read the Megillah, like everybody, like men that are chayiv to hear the Megillah, but not really only hear, but to read. When we hear the Megillah, we're yaitze as if we read it because of Shemei Kaina. But then Tosfos brings from the halachas gedolos, from one of the Rishonim, that says that women's chiyuv in the Megillah is different than the men. Their chiyuv of the Megillah is just to hear the Megillah. Because the Presumei Nisa, the Nes that happened, and that affected them also, so they're part of the Nes, so they have to hear the Megillah, but they don't have to read the Megillah. And therefore a woman cannot be mitzi a man in Mikra Megillah. She's chayiv to hear, and she can be mitzi another woman that has the same chiyuv like her, but she's not chayiv to read, and therefore a woman have a different chiyuv. That's what Tosfos here says. Sagt the Gemara weiter, Vam Rabbi Shua ben Levi, Purim, Shechaliyas b'Shabbos. When Purim comes out on a Shabbos, Shayel and V'doshim bin Yonish Shal Yom. So then you can't read the Megillah on Shabbos, but what do? You give a drasha, you speak about in Yonish Shal Yom. Rashi says in Yonish Shal Yom means you darshan the psukim of Megillah Esther itself. My area Purim, fragt the Gemara, this that you're saying that when Purim is on Shabbos, so then that you darshan about Purim on Shabbos, so why is this only Purim? Afila Yom Tov Nami. This is not only true about Purim, this is every Yom Tov. The Tanya, we learned in a Braise, or the other gears over here is that this is brings over here a pasuk that it says Vayidaber Moshe es Moedei Hashem. So what do you learn out from this pasuk? Moshe tikkun lam liYisrael. Moshe already instituted for Yidden. She yishayel and v'darshim ben Yonish Shal Yom hilchas Pesach b'Pesach. When it comes to every Yom Tiv, so you should learn the halachas of that Yom Tiv, whether it's Pesach, hilchas Atzeres b'Atzeres, the halachas of Shavuos and Shavuos, hilchas Chag b'Chag, the halachas of Sukkos and Sukkos. So the same thing would apply also to those Yomim Tovim that are midrabanan, that if it comes out on a Shabbos and you can't read the Megillah, so you read the Megillah, not the Megillah itself, but you read the stories of the Megillah and you darshan about the Megillah, or maybe even the halachas about the Megillah. So why does that have to say over here specifically regarding Purim? That's the Gemara, Purim mitzterchelei. Well, Purim, it had to tell you that you do this, because maybe I would be concerned of what Rabbi said, that you read and you don't read the Megillah on Shabbos, because you might come to carry the Megillah. So I would think that maybe also if you're going to be darshaning from the Megillah, you might also come to carry it. Kamash Malon, that's why he said, no, you can darshan, if you're not reading from the Megillah, the mitzvah of Kriyas Megillah, we're not concerned that you're going to come to carry your Megillah. Rabbi Shua ben Levi, I know that Allah Rabbi Shua ben Levi said, Chayev Adam Likris Megillah Balayla. You're obligated to read the Megillah at night of Purim, v'den v'l'shanoisa b'yom, and to read it again by daytime. Shenema, the pasuk says, L'kai ekra yoima. I call out to the Eibishter by day, v'loisane, and v'layla v'loidu miyali. So this is a pasuk that is in Kapitel Chav Beis of Tilim, which is referring to the Mizmor that Esther said. Rashi here brings it starts off Lamnatzeach ala Yeles HaShachar, which refers to Esther. And she said this kapitel when she was going to Achashverosh. So in that kapitel, where Esther is speaking, it says she calls out to the Eibishter by day and she calls out to the Eibishter at night. So therefore from this we learn that you have to read the Megillah by night and by day. Now the one that heard this halacha and he heard this lashon, that you have to read it by night, and then l'shanoisa bayayim, he didn't understand what the word l'shanoisa meant. So he thought that it means l'mikre balayla, you have to read the Megillah by night, and then l'misno masnisen dida biyamama. And then l'shanoisa means to learn the mishnayos, the halachas about the Megillah by day, but not that you have to read the Megillah itself again by day. That's what he thought. Amalu Rabbi Yirmiyah, so Rabbi Yirmiyah explained, that's not the pshat. It was explained to me from Rabbi Chia bar Abba. What does l'shanoisa here mean? Like what people say, ever parsha sedah, I will go through, I'll learn this parsha, ve'esne, and I will repeat it. So the word l'shanoisa over here means that you have to repeat it again. It's Menami Yom Rab Chel Ba'oma Ula B'yira. Ula from Biri said, Chayev Adam Likras Megillah Balayla. You're obligated to read the Megillah at night. Ulishanaisa bayayim, and repeat it again by day. And he brought another pasuk. Shenemar l'mayin zamercha chaved v'lo yidaim. Hashem lekai la'olam maydeka. So from this pasuk la'olam maydeka, so v'lo yidaim. So Rashi brings zamercha chaved means by day, and v'lo yidaim means by night. And this pasuk as well, Rashi brings here a medrash that says that this pasuk refers to Mordechai and Esther, and that times this pasuk is going on that time that they praised the Eibishter when the miracle happened. So here is the last thesis on the Amud, is the thesis that discusses the famous question regarding Shechayanu. When you say Shechayanu at night, the first time you read the Megillah, do you make a Shechayanu again when you read the Megillah by day? Taisva says you make a Shechayanu when you read the Megillah again by day. And Taisva says that the main chiyuv of hearing the Megillah is actually by day, not by night. We read it by night as well, but just like the mitzvah of the Suda of Purim, Shleach Manis, Matanas Lav Yainim, all the mitzvahs of Purim are by daytime. So too the mitzvah of reading the Megillah is primarily by day. Elamai, you also add and read it already from the night before. So even though you made a Shechayanu the night before, you make a second Shechayanu again by day. This is a famous thing. This is one of the inyanim where the Alter Rebbe paskined one way, and the Tzemach Tzedek paskined differently. You look in the Siddur, the Alter Rebbe says that you make the Shechayanu by night, and you don't make a Shechayanu by day. There's other Rishonim that hold that you don't make a Shechayanu again by day. But the Tzemach Tzedek paskin that you should make a Shechayanu again by day, and when you make the Shechayanu by day, you also have in mind that the bracha goes on the other mitzvahs of the day. That's our minhag. So we learned in the Mishnah that the people in the villages, so they go earlier, so Rashi's pshat of Yom HaKnisa is when the Bezdin gathers, so on Monday and Thursday, so then the people of the villages come to hear the Megillah earlier than Yudalet or Tezvav. Amar Rav Chanina, Chachamim hikilu ala kfarim. The Chachamim were lenient for the people in the villages. What liyas makdimali and maknisa to go on Monday and Thursday to the city to hear Megillah. And the reason he said was kidei sheyisapku mayim umazayin la'acheim shebekrachim. In order that they, the people of the villages, should have the time to provide water and food for their brothers that are in the large cities. Okay, so what does that mean? It sounds like what he's saying is that the people of the villages, they were the ones that had all the fields, that all the produce was growing over there. If they on Purim are going to have to hear the Megillah like everybody else, they're going to be busy hearing the Megillah, doing the mitzvahs of Purim on the day of Purim. They won't have time to deliver and bring the produce for the people in the city on that day, on Purim itself. So therefore they said, let them read the Megillah a day earlier. So therefore on Purim itself, they'll have the time to provide the food for the people of the cities. In other words, this whole takana of the people of the villages reading earlier was for whose sake? For the sake of the people of the cities, so that the people of the villages should be available to provide the food for them. So the Gemara asks them this. The Gemara is going to change this now. So the Gemara first asks, L'meimre, shall we say, the takante, the krachenave, that the purpose of this takana, to allow them to read earlier, was for the sake of the people of the cities? But vatnan, what did we learn in our Mishnah? Choli is b'sheni, if Purim comes out on a Monday. So then, everybody reads on Monday. Kfarim, v'yaras gedailes, kairim baybayayim. Everybody reads the Megillah on that day. You don't move it to any other date, because Monday is the Yom HaKnisa. That's the day when the Bezdin gathers, and that's the day when people of the villages come. If there's a Bezdin there, so they come. So, we don't have to move the date at all. But if the point is that the people of the villages should have time, they should be available for the people of the cities, so liktamul Yom HaKnisa, let them read earlier, let them read on the previous Thursday, right? They can't read on the same day because they're not going to be available on that day Purim. So the Gemara says, no, that's not a question because that's not an option. If you're going all the way back from Monday to the previous Thursday, you're going to end up reading the Megillah on Yud Adar, and Vasara le'tekinu Rabbanan. As for Asara, there's no takanim with the Rabbanan to read that early. As we had already in the beginning of the Masechta, these dates are learned from the Psukim, whether it's Zmaneim or Kayomim. So we don't go back so early, so that's not an option. So therefore they have to read on Monday. Tashema, but what else did we learn in the Mishnah? So it said in the Mishnah, Chol liyes b'chamishi, Purim comes out on a Thursday, then Kfarim v'yaras gedolos, Kairim b'yayim. So the villages and the large cities, everybody reads on that day on Thursday. So here again you could ask the question, if it's true that the point is for the sake of the large cities, so let the people of the villages read the Monday before this Thursday, so over here this is on the 11th of Adar, and we could read on the 11th of Adar, so let them read on Monday before. Answers the Gemara, no, this as well is not an option. we don't push off or actually allowed to read earlier when it's on a Thursday, which is a Yom HaKnisa, when the Bezdin gathers, to a previous Yom HaKnisa on a Monday. We don't do that. The Gemara doesn't explain why not. Some Rishonim say the reason is because if you're going to think you could push it from Thursday that is, to the previous Monday, you may come to make a mistake and also think that you push it from Monday to the previous Thursday. So in order not to make that mistake, we never mock them from one Yom HaKnisa to another. Tashama, but the Gemara brings another raya, Omer Rabbi Yehuda. So Rabbi Yehuda says, this is later in the Mishnah, and we had this before also. Hey Masai, when Bechlal do we allow the people of the villages to read on earlier dates? If it's a place or in a time period when there's actually, they gather, especially the Bezdin gathers on Sheni and Chamishi. So then they come in to read the Megillah then. But if it's a place that they don't go, especially into the city on Sheni v'Chamishi, so then ein kaira naisa elo bezmana. They have to read the Megillah on the right time on Yudalit. But if he's saying that we allow them to read earlier, in order for the sake of the people in the large cities, that they should have their food, so mishom the einach nasim b'sheni b'chamishi, because the people of the villages are not accustomed to coming in on Sheni and Chamishi, mafsidi lahu l'krachin. So the people of the large cities should lose out, that now the people of the villages are going to be busy on Purim reading the Megillah, and they're not going to be able to provide the food properly for them. So why does it make a difference if they are accustomed to coming in or not? That says the Gemara, so we have to switch what was said. Loi teime, don't say the pshat over here is kidei sheyisapku mayim umazayin. That this is for the sake of the large cities, in order that they should provide water and food, and therefore they have to read a different time. Elo'ema, rather say mipnei shemisapkim mayim umazayin lachayim shebekrachim. That it's for the sake of the people of the villages, because all year round they are the ones that provide the water and the food for the people of the large cities. So therefore we give them this schar that when it comes Purim, we make it more convenient for them. A kula, we're making for them, we make it more convenient for them to be able to read the Megillah on the day that they anyways come into the city, and they shouldn't have to travel extra. So it's for the sake of the people of the villages. It's a schar for them, for the fact that they always work so hard. They have to always travel. They come in from the villages to the cities and they provide the food all year round. So therefore we will make for them over here to be able to just come in at that time and hear the Megillah. So the Gemara said in the Mishnah, Keitzad. So after the Mishnah said the different dates, so what was the order that the Mishnah said it? The Mishnah went in the order of the days of the month. It went, the month that is. Yud Aleph, Yud Beis, Yud Gimel, Yud Aleph, and Tezvav. But then the Mishnah goes through all the scenarios of the dates. So Keitzad, it went through the dates. Choli is B'Sheni, B'Shabbos, Kfarim Vayeres, Gedelis, Karim, B'Yayim, Chulu. And it went through, and over here it goes through in the order of the days of the week, from Monday to Tuesday to Thursday, and so on. And over here it comes out that the order that it says is different. So the Gemara asks, like, Keitzad, Maishna, what's the difference? Reisha, in the beginning when it starts off with all the dates, the Nakat, Sidura, the Yarche. It starts off with the order of the days of the month, Yud Aleph, Yud Beis, and so on. Or Maishna Seife, and then afterwards, when it actually tells you all the different scenarios that are possible, the Nakat, Sidura, the Yaime. Over here, he's going by the order of the day of the week. He doesn't go by the days of the month. Right, let's take for example. Rashi over here says, for example, it starts off with Thursday, Friday. Not Thursday. Thursday you just read it on that day. Friday, Shabbos, and Sunday. That's the order how the Mishnah goes. Friday, so you read a day before on Yud Gimel. If it falls out on Shabbos, you read 2 days before on Yud Beis. If it's Sunday, you read 3 days before, which comes out to be Yud Aleph. So the Mishnah works its way according to the days of the week. So it ends up speaking about Yud Gimel, Yud Beis, and Yud Aleph, the opposite order of how it presented it in the beginning, where it said Yud Aleph, Yud Beis, and Yud Gimel. So why is it switching the order? The Mishnah should have first told you what happens if it falls out on Sunday, so you read Yud Aleph. What happens if it falls out on Shabbos, you read Yud Beis. If it's on Friday, you read Yud Gimel. The same order that it presented in the beginning. So the Gemara answers, no. Aidi de mishapchilei Nakat Sidura de Yaime. Because you're going to have to switch the order to say it in the opposite of the order of the day of the weeks, and it's going to confuse the person. So therefore, when it comes to the days of the week, it says it in the order of the days of the week. If you're going to start from Sunday and work your way back from Sunday to Shabbos to Friday, that's confusing. You might make a mistake in how to learn the pshat of the Mishnah or how to understand this. So it's more mesudar to go in the order of the days of the week when he's talking about the days of the week. When he's talking about the days of the month, So he goes in the order of the days of the month. When he talks about the day that Purim actually falls out, so what he's mentioning beferish is the days of the week. So he says it in the order of the days of the week, so it shouldn't be confusing. Chali is be'erev Shabbos v'chulu. Then it said in the Mishnah, if Purim comes out in erev Shabbos, so what happens? So you read the Megillah the day before, and then it said if it falls out in Shabbos, so then you read it on Friday. Zog the Gemara, Mani Masnisen, who is our Mishnah? So what did it say in our Mishnah? That if it falls out on Friday, which means that the Mukafis Chayma, it fell out for them on Shabbos, they also read it on Friday. Just like they read it together on Friday, together with the people of the open cities. So who's our Mishnah? I Rabbi, Yasi. It could be either according to Rabbi's opinion or Rabbi Yasi's opinion. And the Gemara is going to bring a Braisa where it brings their opinions, and there's another opinion that actually argues. The Tanya we learned in a Braisa, Chali is better of Shabbos. If Purim falls out, if Yudalit Ad falls out on a Friday. So Kfarim Vayaras Gedailois, the villages in the large open cities, Magdimin L'Yayim HaKnisa. So they do not read on Friday, they read a day before, on Thursday. The walled cities, they can't read on Shabbos, so they read on Friday. So this is not like what it said in our Mishnah. In our Mishnah it said that if Purim falls out on a Friday, then everybody reads on Friday. The Yudalit, the ones that read on Yudalit stay on Friday, and the ones that from Shabbos, the Tezvav, they also read on Friday. The Tana of this Braisa says no, that you go a day earlier. The ones of the open cities go a day earlier. Now Rabbi Oimer here, this is Rabbi like our Mishnah. The cities, the open cities, they're not pushed off from their place. They still read on Yudalit Adar on Friday. Both the cities of the open cities and the walled cities, they all read on the same day on Friday. So that's the machlokes. The Gemara now explains the sources of their opinions. My time at the Tanakama, what's the source of the Tanakama's opinion that on a day that it's on Friday, you have to push the people from the open cities to a day before? The Chsiv, because the Pasuk says, B'chol shana v'shana. You should read the Megillah every single year. Why is the Megillah saying every single year? My kol shana v'shana. What it means is it's saying that the Megillah the timing of the reading of the Megillah has to be the same or similar every single year. And therefore, ayarais ma kol shana v'shana. So just like every single year, ayarais kaidmes l'mukafin, the ayarais, the open cities, read before the mukafin, the cities with the walls. Afkan ayarais kaidmes l'mukafin. In this year as well, the cities, the regular cities, also read before mukafin, and therefore they're going to have to read a day before. Frakta Gemara, how do you know that's the pshat of how to understand what B'chol Shana V'Shana means? Maybe I could say B'chol Shana V'Shana, what B'chol Shana V'Shana means. Ma Kol Shana V'Shana, just like every single year, the people of the regular cities do not get pushed off from their time. They still read on Yudalit. Maybe here it's also telling you that don't push off the regular open cities from their time and their place that they have to read. Maybe that's the way you understand it. So the Gemara says, no, you can't say that. Shani hacha, over here and this year it's different. The lo yafshe, it's impossible to have them read in the same time. Because if you're going to have them read the same time, so then they're not going to be reading a day before the walled cities. And they have to read like every year a day before the walled cities. And the cities that they're putting falls out on Shabbos, on Tezvav, they have to be a day earlier. So you're going to have to put the open cities also a day earlier. That's the pshat in the Rebbe's opinion. Rebbe, and now according to this is explaining the Tanakama's opinion here. Now Rebbe is going to learn the same drasha, the same pasuk, but the exact opposite. Rebbe, my time, Rebbe says that you keep the date of these cities on the Friday, and everybody together is going to read on Friday. So what is his reason? He learns from the same pasuk. It says B'chol shana v'shana, that every year it should be similar. Ma kol shana v'shana, just like every single year. Ein ayares nitchem imekaiman. The open cities, I don't push them away from their place. They read on Yudalit. Afkan la. So too here, I don't push them off from their day, and they read on Yudalit. I don't push them off from their day. Why shouldn't I compare it to every single year? Ma kol shana v'shana ayarais kaidmais l'mukafin. The ayarais, the open cities, read before the mukafin. Afkan nami, I should say the same thing over here in this year as well, that the ayarais should be reading on a Thursday. Ayarais kaidmais l'mukafin. Shani hacha, so he gives the same answer, but in the reverse. Shani hacha de lo yafshe. Over here, it's not an option to have the ayarais reading a day before. They have to stay on their date. The fact that the Mukafis Chaima are reading also on Friday and they end up reading on the same day, there's nothing we can do about that. The point is, according to both opinions, in some aspect, it's not going to be similar to every year, and in another aspect, it will be similar to every year. The question is, what do we focus on? The Tanakama says that this detail, that the Ayares and Mukafes have to be two different times, one before the other, that's the main thing that we focus on. And Rabbi says, no, the main thing that we focus on is the actual date of the Ayares, that we don't move them from their place, that's more important. Now the Gemara brings Rabbi Yaisi, and here the Gemara is going to go through a very similar discussion again. My Rabbi Yaisi, we said that our Mishnah could also be according to Rabbi Yaisi, so who's this Rabbi Yaisi? So there's another Braisa. The Tanya, we learned in this Braisa, Chali is bad of Shabbos, and Purim comes out on Friday, Mukafim, Kfarim, Magdim Aliyah Maknisa. So the Tanakama, the same as we had before, so he says, actually a little bit different than before, he says that the Mukafim and the Kfarim, everybody, Magdim Aliyah Maknisa, will read on the Yom Maknisa. So the Mukafim, that are supposed to be reading on Shabbos, they actually read on a Thursday together with the people of the villages. And the people of the regular open large cities, they read on Friday on their Purim, on Yudalit. That's the Tanakama. So this is another opinion here. Rabbi Yaisi says the same as Rabbi before. You never have the people of the walled cities reading before the people of the open cities. Everybody together reads on Friday. So the Gemara goes through again explaining the sources of their opinion. My time of the Tanakama, what's the source for the Tanakama's opinion that you have an unusual thing here? The people of the Mukafin are reading a day before the regular cities. So he says, you have to have the Kriya of the Megillah every year similar. Just like every single year. The people of the regular cities are on Yudalit, and also every year, the time of when they read is not the time of when the Mukafin read. Afkan, so too over here, when it comes out on a Friday, Ayares bar basar, the Ayares have to read on Yudalit on Friday, and Zmanish Lozel, Leish Zmanish Lozel, we can't have the Mukafis being the same time, so they're going to have to read a day earlier on Thursday. Why shouldn't I say just like every single year? We never have the Mukafim before the regular cities. So maybe this year also you can't have the Mukafim read a day before the regular cities. So the answer is here there's no option. Over here they can't read on the same day. So for all of them to read on Friday is also not an option. So in other words, the Tanakama over here holds that this aspect, that they don't read on the same day, is a very important thing. So therefore, there's no choice. They're going to have to be a day before. My time of the Rabbi Yaisi, what's Rabbi Yaisi's opinion? B'chol shana v'shana, and what do I learn out from this? Kol shana v'shana, just like every single year. Mukafim kaidmin la'yaris. The Mukafim could never read before the regular cities. Afkan mukafim kaidmin la'yaris. So to this year, they don't read before. So they read on the same day on Friday. Ve'emel, shall we say, b'chol shana v'shana, I compare it to every year, kol shana v'shana zmanish l'zeh, lo zmanish l'zeh, that they don't read on the same day. Afkan zmanish l'zeh, lo zmanish l'zeh, that they shouldn't read on the same day, and therefore, like the Tanakama said, the Mukafim should read on a Thursday. Shani hacha de lo yefshe. Over here, we don't have another option. They can't read before. According to them, it's not an option for them to read before. So over here, there's no choice. They're going to have to all end up reading on the same day. Okay, so this is very similar to what we had before. But now that the Gemara goes back to Rebbe's opinion, the Sava Rebbe, does Rebbe hold Ayaros loy dachinon liyom haknisa, that we don't push the people of the city when it falls out on a Friday, so we don't have them read a day before on a Thursday? Is that true? But Vatanya, we learned in the Braisa, Chali is b'Shabbos. What happens if Purim comes out on Shabbos? Kfarim magdim liyom haknisa, so the people of the villages read on Thursday. Vayaras gedailois kairim ber of Shabbos, and the people of the large cities also read a day before on Friday. On Mukafas Chayma lamacha, and the people of the Mukafas Chayma, they read on Sunday. That's their Purim. It's Tezvav Adar on Sunday. Rabbi says, I say, once you're pushing off the people of the city from Shabbos, so then they shouldn't be reading on Friday. They don't read on Friday, we already pushed them off, and they read on the Yom HaKnisa together with the people of the villages. So, what is the Gemara trying to say? Just like I see over there, that once I'm pushing them off from Shabbos, so they don't read on Friday, I say that they read on the Yom HaKnisa, similar, wouldn't it be logical to say that Rabbi's opinion is that when Purim comes out on Friday, you don't read on Friday. You push it back to the Yom HaKnisa. So how could we have before that Rabbi said that when Purim falls out on Friday, they do read on Friday? So the Gemara says there's no comparison. How could you compare the two? Hasam zmanam shabbasi. If to put him, the time wasn't Shabbos, the nitchu. Once it was pushed off from Shabbos, yitchu. So it's pushed off not to Friday, but it's pushed off to Thursday already. But v'hacha zmanam erev Shabbos. If the actual date of Yudalit, if the time is on erev Shabbos, so then you leave it for erev Shabbos. According to who? There's this opinion that what Rab Chelba Amar Rav Huna said, put him shechaliz b'Shabbos, put him falls out on a Shabbos, hakoil nitchin l'yom ha'knisa. Everybody is pushed off to read the Megillah on Thursday. Hakoil nitchin sol kedaitach. Could you say that everybody's pushed off to read on a Thursday? There are the people of the walled cities, they read on Sunday. That's the Tezvav, that's their time to read the Megillah. Ella, rather what he's saying is, Kol hanitche, all those that are pushed off from the Shabbos, which is the people of the villages and the people of the open cities, yitche l'yom ha'knisa, they are pushed off to Thursday. So whose opinion is this? Kaman kerebi. This is going according to Rebbe's opinion that we just quoted. Now the Gemara concludes now with the source of this whole subject here. The Kula Almamiyah, everybody agrees, Megillah b'Shabbos loy karina, that you don't read the Megillah on Shabbos. My time, what's the reason for this? Omar Rabbi, so Rabbi said the reason is Hakoil chayavim b'kriyas Megillah, everybody's obligated to read the Megillah, and others are going to say also b'tkiyas shayfer. Vein Hakoil b'kiyah b'mikra Megillah. Not everybody knows how to read the Megillah. You might take the Megillah and go to a Baki Lilmai to learn how to read the Megillah, and you may carry the Megillah 4 Ames in the Rishus Harabim. Behind the time of the Shofar, behind the time of the Lulav. The same reason why we don't blow Shofar on Shabbos and we don't take the Lulav on Shabbos. So here you have Tosfos. You have every time the Gemara brings up this thing, Tosfos makes the point to explain why aren't we concerned about the fact that you might carry it out from Rishus HaYachid to Rishus HaRabim, which is the Malach of Haitzah. Why does the Gemara always mention the issue of carrying it 4 Amos in Rishus HaRabim? So there's a few answers to this. And one answer Taisa says is carrying it from your house into the Rishus HaRabim is something that's easier to remember because you're going out. It reminds you that it's Shabbos, you're not allowed to go out with this. Whereas if there's a Megillah in the Rishus HaRabim to carry it from one place to another, that's harder to forget. Easier to forget, that is. Easier to forget, and therefore the Gemara is saying that that's the chashash, that you might carry it in the Rishus HaRabim. Okay, let's finish off here just this inyan. The Gemara brings another source for the reason why we don't read the Megillah on Shabbos. Rav Yosef says a different reason. Because the eyes of the poor people are looking up to the time when you read the Megillah. And then when you're going to read the Megillah, they want to get their Matanas Lavyanim. If you're going to read it on Shabbos, they're not going to get the Matanas Lavyanim on Shabbos. Tani Nami Hachi, we learned this in the Braisa as well. Although we said that the people of the villages read before the Yom HaKnisa. They collect on that day and they give out Matanas Lavyanim on that day. That's the lashon of the Braisa. But the Gemara here questions this expression, the language of the Braisa. What does it mean? Afal Pisha Amru. Even though we said. Adarab, on the contrary, Mishum Amru, it should have said in the Braisa because they said that they read on the Yom HaKnisa. So because that's the day they read, so the poor people are waiting for their Matanas Lavyanim, that's the reason why you should give it then. What's the Afal Pi? So the Gemara says, you're right. Ella, the way to read this Brais is, Hoyil v'amru, since it was said, Shekfarim akdim l'yom haknisa, that the villagers have to read earlier, Goyvim baybayim, you collect on that day, Machalkim baybayim, you give out on that day, Mipnei sheneim shalanim, Nesuis b'mikra Megillah. The eyes of the poor people are waiting for the time when they read the Megillah to get their Matanas Lavyanim. Avol simcha einen eges ela b'zmana. The simcha, in other words, the other halachas of Purim, the Meichel Mishta Rashi says, and L'chayra it means the other things that are the Mishleach Manis, so that's Bizmana, that the mitzvah is to do it on Yudal Adar, not on the day that you read the Megillah if you're reading it a day earlier.